Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. It's Monday, happy Monday, and this is the slot where we have a look at an article that has been in This Week in Neo4j and go through it. So what I thought I was going to do today, I was having a look at what's going to be coming out this week, and we've got a link to an article from Amy Hodler, so my colleague Amy. You got the link there. I know it's a bit of a long one, so I will paste the link as well in the chat. So let me quickly do that now. Normally we look for a community blog post or something like that, but I know how popular Bloom is, and we've got some new features that have come out in Bloom. So I thought, let's have a look at it. So I haven't yet played with the new features. So if you want to join along with me as well and you want to have a go, please do. So let's get started. If you've got any questions or any comments, pop them in the chat and I'll pick them up as we go along. So this is the blog post, and as it says, Bloom 1.4 was released a few weeks ago, and as I mentioned about it, and there's some new features that are in there. And let's have a look at some of the features that we've got. So one of them is this proactive search suggestions. So for those of you who have been using Bloom, you know when you start up Bloom and it'll just suggest a word like, product, if you've got a database with product labels in there. So it might suggest product. And effectively what proactive search is trying to do is to make it a little bit clearer. So maybe you start off with something. So we've got an example here in the post where we've got a product that has, we've got a product with the name of tofu. And the idea is what the proactive search suggestion will do is it'll try and suggest what's next. So it's going to have a look and it's going to suggest maybe you're going to be interested in this other label that we've got in the database. So in this example here, this product database, you've got labels for product, you've got labels for category, you've got labels for order. So it's just trying to suggest, and what it does is as you select them, you build through the pattern. So whereas previously in Bloom, it would just bring everything back and then you added bits. So here it allows you to keep building out the query, and when you've figured out what you want, then you can run that and it's going to bring that data back. So that's one of the features, so we'll have a go at that in a second. The other feature, which is pretty cool, is this hierarchical graph layout. So again, if you remember when you used Bloom and you return, like you're looking for a bunch of nodes and how they're connected, it'll just shoot everything back as like a tree, sort of clouds of nodes and things like that. But depending on the kind of query that you're running, you don't necessarily want it to come back like that. You want it to come in sort of like a structured order. So especially if you're looking at dependencies or what's connected to what, you kind of want it to come back more in a sort of a chain rather than exploding everywhere. So one of the new features we've got in there is the hierarchical layer. So we're going to have a go with that as well. So I think those are two main new things that have come out. So let's get cracking and have a go. So what I've done, I've got desktop up and running, and what I've done is I've created a new database. So it's completely plain, blank database. And if I go into browser, which I've got, so you'll see there is nothing in this database yet. I haven't loaded any data. Let's have a go with the movie graph database, because that's easy. It's very easy to get to the source code. And for those of you who are joining along, you know exactly what data I'm using. And this is going to be the same irrespective of whether you're using this on Neo4j desktop, if you're using this on Sandbox, if you're using this on Aura. So it should be the same experience. So let's have a go. So to get to the movie data that we're going to be using today, what you want to do is you'll always have this sort of frame pop up when you open browser, and if you accidentally close it, that's not a problem. Just close, reload browser, open and close browser again, or close and open browser again, and it pops back up again. So don't worry if you accidentally hit X and you close it. So what you can do is you click on write code, and then you have this new window pops up, and you've got this option here of movie graph. So that's the data we're going to be using today. So I'm going to click on create a graph, And if you've not seen these before, you get these guides, and these play guides just basically talk you through an example. So here it's talking you through the movie graph example. If you've not done this before and you're quite new to Neo4j, you're quite new to Cypher, this is a really great one to have a go with. And this will talk to you about, you know, how do you start querying, so how do you start getting some data out of the database, and it steps you through to doing Kevin Bacon numbers and building a simple recommendations engine. So definitely a good idea to try this one out if you've not done that before. But I'm going to steal this for data, and for those of you who have seen some of my streams before, I typically come and raid this example for data because it's a really quick and easy way to get something in the graph, something that people are familiar with, and we can get working with it straight away. So I'm going to take this, so this is going to create my data, so I'm just going to click on that and run this, and this is going to give me some data. So let's give that motor run, and there we go, so we have some data. I'm just going to change the colour of these nodes so they look a bit more sensible. So I'm going to pick an arbitrary colour for person nodes, I'm going to pick an arbitrary colour for my movie nodes, and there we go. So if I just quickly open this up, we now have some data that we're going to be visualizing in Bloom. And we have got, you can see two node labels, movie, person, and we've got 171 nodes in total. And we have 253 relationships in total, and we've got 6 different relationship types in use. So we have got acted in, directed, follows, produced, reviewed, and wrote. There we go, we have some data. That was nice and quick. So hopefully for those of you who are following along, you've got that. And now we're going to get started with Bloom. So what you will see is if you're in desktops, that's what I'm using here, desktop. Oh, I've got a new version of desktop I can get as well. I'll update that later. But if you click here in these 4 squares, so this will show you the graph apps and what you've got installed. And Bloom is always installed by default with desktop. So you'll see here it's automatically pulled it in, and we've got the new version here. So it should always be there. It should be available. It's, you know, you can use it freely with desktop for learning and research. So we've got it there already. So I'm now going to launch Bloom, and for those of you, just as a quick reminder, you launch Bloom by looking for the little down arrow next to open, and it's going to list out all of the graph apps you have available. And you see here we've got Bloom, so I'm going to click on that, and that's going to start up Bloom. So let's just give that a moment. So as this is a new database, so we're adding some data, we're going to have to do a perspective and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to show you how we do that. So this will pop up, our perspective gallery. We don't have the perspective. So perspective is basically the information about your graph. So it'll be things like what categories, so what labels are you using for your nodes, what properties you want to display for your nodes and relationships, what colorings, what icons. You can also save some search phrases. So all of the information about this, the viewpoint of your graph that you want. And what happens is we can auto-generate a perspective, and what will happen here is it's going to go away and just do some legwork for us. So Bloom's going to go away and have a look at the database and go, right, you're using these labels, or you've got a property called name, so you probably want to highlight that and so forth. So it's just going to do all of that work for us. So I'm going to click on generate perspective, and there we go, it's created the perspective for us. So I'm now going to use this perspective. And there we go, so we are in Bloom. So this should be, for those of you who've used Bloom 1.2 upwards, this should be all reasonably familiar as to what's going on. So let's try out the first new thing that we saw, which was this proactive search suggestion. So if I click in the box here, it's suggesting movie, it's suggesting person. So these are the things that we had previously. And it's also suggesting some relationships as well, because maybe that might be of interest to us. So let's just click on wrote and let's see what comes back. And you can see here, so straight away you can see the proactive search suggestion is helping. So it's saying, well, do we want to bring back the movies where we've got writers for, or do we want to bring back the person? So I think in this scenario, it's probably going to be more useful for us to find all of the writers that we have. So all of the person nodes that we have that are writers. So let's have a look at that. We click on that, and you can see it's helping us build out our query. And you can see here what's going on is each time we click on something, it's going, hey, you know, this is the other, you know, thing that's going on in the graph. So we can see here, well, okay, so we've got situations where you've got a person who wrote something and also acted in something, or they wrote something and they may have directed it. So I'm not sure all of these are true. So let's bring back person wrote to begin with. So this is what we want to do. So we press enter to run this query. So let's run that and bring back our nodes. So you can see here, we have brought back all of the writers that we have and what they wrote. So we've got the Wachowskis here, we've got Jim Cash, Nancy Meyers, and so forth. There we go. So you can see where it's helping us, it's helping to build out those queries for us. So that's a subtle difference. So the subtle difference being, whereas before you kind of had to know what the pattern was. So it kind of would auto suggest that if you started typing like wrote, it would go, you're trying to write wrote. I spotted there was a relationship of type like that in the database. Let me pop that in. Whereas now it's proactively suggesting, well, these are all of the relationship types you currently have. These are all of the labels that you currently have. So you can see that's going on. So let's have a little play. So let's check out this theory. So clear the scene. So we wanted to see whether we had a wrote and acted in. So let's find out, do we have any writers who also acted in some movies? So we're going to press return to run this query. Oh, we do. Brilliant. There you go. So Aaron Sorkin wrote and directed A Few Good Men. So you get the idea of what's going on here. Go on then, let's see if we've got a wrote, acted in, that's going to give us a director, so now that exists. I was wondering if it circles around. But there we go. We had a quick play with the proactive search. So that's fun, that's nice. It gives us a hint as to what's available in the database. So let's clear the scene. And what we're going to have a look at next. Let's have a look at the hierarchical graph layouts. So that should be fun. Right, so I've not done this before, so this should be great fun. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Oh, look, I can see a very exciting button. So activate hierarchical layout. So let's do before and after. So what we can do is, if we think about the structure of our graph, so let me bring back browser. Oh, that's an excellent alliteration. I need to think of a good use for that. So if I show the schema, so call db.schema, and this is going to show us what our data model looks like. So as you can see here, we have got our movie node, and the movie, and we've got person node, and there's a number of relationships. So we've got person and has a number of relationships with movie, and we've also got this person follows person. So what we could do is, let's see if we can get rid of a hierarchy going. So one thing we can do is a chain. So if we start with a person acted in movie, and then then movie had acted in person. So we can keep cycling like that. So we can make like a fake. We can make like a fake hierarchy. And we're just going to cycle between movie and person, and that's going to give that for us. So let's have a go with that. So let's see if we've got any chains for person follow. So remembering we had that we have this hierarchy here. So I'm going to click on follows. Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. We've got a nice chain. Beautiful. So how far can we go with this? Oh, I think we've reached the limit, haven't we? That's okay. Alright, so we've got a maximum of four chains. So we've only got 4 nodes here, and that's all that's clacked. So that's probably not particularly helpful for us to look at. So we can try removing some of these, and let's see if we get some bigger chains going on. No, we don't. Okay, so we're not going to use follow. So let's stick to the original plan of cycling between actor and movie. So I'm just going to clear the scene for this. And let's do Oh, I like this because I can just be lazy. So I'm going to do person, movie, person, movie. You can see where this is going. Person, movie. Right, person. Let's bring some data back. I like this. This is nice. This is really, really quick. For those of you who saw my talk on tips and tricks with Neo4j Bloom, so this I did at Graph Connect 2 years ago, my goodness. So 2 years ago I did that, and you may recall we were talking about how you can do depth and searching depth within Neo4j. So what I should have done is I should have perhaps specified the relationship type here, so I'm going to stop that. But you'll probably remember how I had to type and keep typing and keep typing. So it's really nice that I can just click, 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 click. So much faster. So I'm just going to do this by relationship type, just so that it's a bit cleaner. So let's do acted in. Oh, look at this one. Making my life nice and easy. Acted in, acted in, acted in. Let's do one more, acted in, and run that. So we're just tying it down to the relationship type. So you can see here, it's almost like a depth query because we're trying to see dependencies. So we could make an assumption, obviously not true to the movie data here, but let's say we were making an assumption that actually, well, person was, say, product, and the movie node, let's say, was a company that either supplied or bought that product. So you can see how you can create like a dependency chain where you're alternating between those two labels. So here we go, we've brought some data back and it's everywhere. So let's engage the hierarchy mode. Let's see what happens. Oh, that is nice. Right, so let's just quickly zoom out a bit. Let's zoom out and see what's happening. But you can see what's happened. And you can see here, so our movie node is in yellow. So you can see how it's treating the yellow as the top of the hierarchy, and then the person nodes as the next level of that hierarchy. So that is super cool. So let's zoom in a little bit. So we could have perhaps, there you go. So you can see how it's treating that like a hierarchy. So I'm just trying to have a think. So that's the 2 new features, and we can see what happens. We can turn off the hierarchy mode. Oh, this is going to be hours of entertainment. Turn on the hierarchy mode. Okay, so we've had a look at the 2 new features. So I'm just going to have a think, what can we do to make this a bit more exciting? And I think we do have the Northwind dataset as well available. So let's go back to browser. Bring back browser. I've got to use that more. I like that. So let's clear the data out of here. Bring back browser. Ooh, what have we got? Right, okay, so we have another example data set in here, which I don't tend to use as much. But let's have a look at it. So if we go again, jump into code, you have this option here which says Northwind Graph. And this is the famous Northwind dataset. And for those of you who are like, what's Northwind dataset? Some of you may remember, may even still use Microsoft Access. So that was a lightweight database that you get as part of Microsoft Office. I don't know if they still ship it with Office. I'll have to look, but certainly some years ago, when I was a bit younger than I am today, you used to have it available, and it was great fun to play with. And if you ever wanted to have an example database to work with, it was always the Northwind Graph. And let's dive in there. So we've got the CSVs and all of these things. And do we have a data model here? We do. We've got rough chunks of the data model. But basically you had this whole thing where you had product, and you had the categories for the product, and you had the suppliers, and then you'd have like the salespeople and all the other bits and pieces. And what we've got here is we've got some data from that. So what I'm going to do, same idea, I'm going to load up all of the data that we've got here, and it's the same idea. We just click and add. So this should be a bit more fun actually if we have a go at the exploring with the proactive search and for the hierarchies. So again, this is freely available in the guide. So when you start up Neo4j, oh, it's gone, but you get the play start and you've got the Northwind example. So that's the one I'm looking at now. So I'm just going to add all of these. And I'm just going to pin this so it doesn't run away as I go through the various boxes. So don't worry too much about what's going on here. This is just loading the data. We're adding some indexes. It's great. Let's just click and press play and it all magically adds. Alright, so we're creating some relationships. So what we're doing here is we are putting a relationship between supplier, product and category, and that's going to be a beautiful hierarchy that we can have a play with in a bit. So just putting those relationships in, and that's just showing us what we've done, so that's okay, we're not creating anything here. We are, oh look at this, we're now loading some customer data, adding more layers of hierarchy. Oh, this is going to be great fun, isn't it? Let's do this, let's add. Going to put some more indexes in. Oh, I have to say I'm quite excited now. I can see what this looks like. So we're creating a relationship between order and product. So let's do that. See what happens. Let's see what happens. And what does this do? This is not creating anything, so we will leave that bit. Oh, okay, that's everything in apparently. So let's wheel up Bloom. So we're going to have to restart this because we just changed the data. So it's going to reload everything and we're going to have to create a new perspective, but that's okay. As you saw earlier, that's not a difficult thing to do. So that will just take us a few moments. And again, don't forget, you can do this in Bloom, you can do this in, you can do this in Sandbox, you can do this in Aura, you don't have to do it just in desktop. So let's sort out our perspective. So I believe we go here and, oh, refresh perspective. Yes, I do want to do this. Oh, this is exciting. New button. I like the new buttons. Okay, so what's happened here? I don't think it's done what we want it to do, but that's okay. What we can do to go back to our perspective menu thing, we just click on the top here. That sends us back, and we're going to create a perspective. So let's generate a perspective once again. And there we go. Yeah, the only reason I say it's MovieDB is because that's what I named it in desktop. So we can rename that. Let's not confuse ourselves. I'm just going to rename this to Northwind. And save. So we're going to bring that perspective. So let's have a quick peek at what our database looks like. So let's bring back browser. Okay, all right, I can get rid of this. So here we go. Here is our data model. So we can see we have got a supplier, suppliers of products. We have a customer who purchased an order, and the order, contains products. And then we have a category. So a product is part of a category. So we can see we've got a nice hierarchy here of customer to product. We have a nice hierarchy of customer to category. So we can start to have a look at, is there some kind of trend between a category and what customer is ordering ultimately via order and products. We have supplier. So I guess again we can have a hierarchy here of supplier to category as well. So got some interesting things going on there. So let's get started with this. So let's have a look. Let's bring back Bloom. Oh, that's another alliteration. I like that. So, okay, we have got Bloom. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, right. So, we've brought Black Bloom. So, search Northwind. So, what do we want? We have categories. So, let's bring back some categories. What do we... Oh, categories to product. Let's do that straight away. Because I'm curious. What have we got in there? So, you can see straight away it was letting us suggest things. And we're still in hierarchy mode, which actually... Look at that, works really nicely. So let me just close this. Oh, close out the way. Right, so look at this. This I like. Straight away. So we have got... right, let's give these some sensible names. So we've got, I assume these are going to be the IDs. So what we're going to do with that is... let's bring back our options here and let's do some settings. So if we go to products, it is selecting product ID as the caption. We don't want that. So let's go for product name. So we know what we're looking at. Okay, and we had category, and category, we want category name. Lovely. We have supplier, we've got supplier ID. We probably want company name. That's much nicer to look at. We have got customer, we want customer name. And we want order. What's a sensible thing for order? I think it's going to be... let's go for date. Let's pick a date. Order date. Why not? Okay. Right, let's see what's going on. So you can see straight away, look how nicely the hierarchy mode is working. So we have got confections. Sweets. Lovely. Oh, pavlova. I do like a pavlova. So you can see here we have got, so you can see we're in hierarchy mode. So you can see how it's nicely listed all the confections, and the confections are sitting under the confections. You can see for beverages, and again, data set easily available in browser. You saw how easy it was for us to get at it. So you click through. So we've got beverages, and we have got all of the beverages sitting under there. We have got condiments, seafood. Look at that, that's lovely. So you can see that's nice. And again, just as a reminder, if I turn off hierarchy mode, you remember it will be like sort of orbits, planets in orbit gathering around. So you can see the difference that hierarchy mode does. So that's category product. So what did we have previously? So we had product, category product, we go order to customer. So let's go this way. So let's go customer to category. So I think that's going to be a nice bit of fun there. So let's do that. Let's clear everything. So clear scene. And we have got customer, then customer has an order, then order to product, and then product to category. And let's see what happens. We should have perhaps selected a specific customer. That's okay. I'm probably boiling the ocean here. That's all right. 1,000 nodes met our criteria. Okay. Oh. Where are our nodes? Does my PC have a GPU? Yes. And that's a great question that you've brought up, Vinit. I am kind of regretting that I didn't use my other laptop, which has got a significantly better GPU than my poor little laptop that I'm currently using. But absolutely, the bigger the GPU, the better experience. So what we can see going on here is that we have obviously got a situation where customer places many orders. So let me pick one customer. So let's bring back some customer nodes. I'm going to clear the scene. Let's bring back let's bring back some customers, because I can't remember what names we've got. Oh, actually, I can show you a trick for that. If we clear scene, so what will happen is I think if we do, is it customer name? Customer ID. It may suggest something. Oh, let's go with 5. Do we have a? No, we don't. All right, let's bring back all the customers. Bring back a name, and then we will, or an ID, and then we will. So let's zoom in. There we go. So what's their ID? Let's have a quick look. Their customer ID is Lilas. Okie dokie. So let's do that. Let's look at the hierarchy for Lilas. So let's clear the scene. So what we can do, as we have an index on that, we can just do, ooh dear. We can just do that. So you can see it's popping up as that. So now we can step through. So let's see what orders Lilas has got. So we've got 15 orders. Then we can go to product. So what we might do, we can have a bit of a play with the virtual nodes, is we can product and category. Right, let's do this. So let's have a look at that hierarchy. So remember, we're looking at the customer, to their orders, to what product they've ordered, down to category. And again, we've still got this hierarchy mode engaged. Ooh, so that's the date. So remember the red, so this is the date of the order. And then you can see the order going to the products and then confection. So let's do something fun here. So why not skip over order? So what we want to try and do now, what my thinking is I'm not so worried about the order, because what we probably find is if I take off category and just stick back to products, let me clear the scene here, is we're probably going to find that, well, we should hopefully find that there's orders where they order the same products more than once. So here we go, look, I can see one straight away here. So we've got these two orders, both ordered Nordost Matishing. Sorry, I've got to see what category is this. Oh, we don't have a category for this. That's exciting. Oh, yes, we do. It's seafood. There we go. It's seafood. Right. Okay. But you can see here that we've got orders where, you know, multiple things. Maybe I can only see one or two, so I don't see any orders where more than one product has been done. But what I'd quite like to see is like a nice, slick customer, product, category relationship. So we can skip over order. So let's have a go at bypassing that relationship. So we can use the APOC virtual nodes and relationships. So let me have a think how we're going to do this. Or we could just put a new relationship in. One moment, I'm going to quickly install APOC in here. So I just need to do this. So we have to restart everything. I'm just going to add APOC. And what I want to do, so let me bring up this. So what we're going to do is, virtual relationships actually, nodes relationships. So what we're going to do, is this the right one? Yes. So what we can do in Neo4j with APOC is, let me give you an example in arrows. So at the moment, what we've got is, install GDS. All the requests are coming in. Go on, then, let's do it. We can have a think if we can think of a good. If we can think of a good. Let's restart the database. A good algo to run on this. So at the moment where we are, we've got this, haven't we? We've got customer. Then we have. Ooh, please save. There we go. Let me just quickly stick this and pin this in the corner. Okay, so we at the moment where we've got state flow, we have got a customer, and then customer places an order. The order contains some products, and the product is in a certain category. And what would be quite nice is that you can have more than one product. We can have more than one order. So let me do that. And what we want to do is actually, what might be interesting to have a look at is to see how, what are the typical categories a customer orders from based on the product. So actually what we could do is can we do a faux hierarchy here where the lowest order is going to be customer. So it's going to be one customer is then going to have a factor of, I don't know, 1 categories that they order from. And there's going to be a factor of 10 products coming off that category. So let's see if we can rejig this ordering using the using APOC virtual relationships. Let's see what happens. It should be fun. Okay, so let's first first of all, let's take Vinet's request to install GDS. So I'm going to do that now. So let's install that and let that restart, and then we'll have a bit of fun with this. Okay, right, I think this is slowly bursting back into life, so we will have a go at this. So let's just quickly look at the documentation. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring back our customer product category order, but we're going to skip order and we're just going to rechange the order. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from this, which is what the physical data is at the moment, and let's bring it back to this, which will be so this is virtual relation. So we're going to do this, and then this will give us a nice hierarchy, won't it? Okay, right, let's see what happens. Should be fun. So I think we are back, so bring back browser. So we're going to do, we're not creating a vnode, we are creating a virtual relationship. So let's just have a quick look at our example here. So return from to a.create relationship from paid as well. Okay, right, let's have a go. We'll start easy. Let's go customer to category. So we're going to do this in Bloom, and we can do this using a search phrase. And let's say customer ID to category. Let's do something like this, and it's search phrase, bring back customer category, and eventually we're going to get down to products. Okay, let's do that. So we are going to have customer ID. So what we can do is we can do suggestions. So we're going to suggest customer ID. That's going to bring back some suggestions for what we can do. And we're going to do match customer ID. Then we want product, don't we? So let's just quickly remind ourselves of the ordering that we had. So it goes customer, order, product, category. Okay, so it's always outbound, so that's, I can remember that. Okay, so customer. Oh, I need to do customer ID, customer ID. Okay, and then we've got P product. Then we've got, oh no, order, oops, sorry. P product, and then we've got category, no, cats. Ooh. Category. Okay, so we're going to match all of that for a specified customer, and then we are going to then create our virtual relationship. So let's have a quick look at the syntax for that. So we say we do okay, yeah, we can do, you know what, I'm feeling brave. Let's do this in one fell swoop. So I'm just going to copy this, and then we can do it back afterwards. And we're probably, I'm just trying to think how we're going to, because we're going to end up with many relationships. We kind of don't want to do that, do we? Because we'll end up with a bunch of relationships between customer and product. We only want one. So if we do distinct, actually I think we probably use the distinct keyword, don't we? Okay, right, let's have a look at this. So let's do this may or may not work, but that's alright. We're living life dangerously. COP cat, and then we had this, and we're just going to reuse bits from here. Create, we're going to do customer. We can give it sensible names later. Let's call it rel1 for now. We don't have any properties, so we can get rid of that. I think we need to just leave empty. Braces, C2. We said we're going to go to category, didn't we? So cat as rel1. And let's do same again. And then that was going to be cat. The very fancy named rel2. We don't have any properties for that relationship, and we go to product as rel2. Right, okay, let's see what happens. So it doesn't, this query manipulates data. Okay, no, that's all fine. Right, let's see what happens. I'm feeling lucky, I'll tell you that. Right, let's do this. Okay, so let's have a go. We could have tested this in browser, but I'm feeling dangerous today. So, customer, and we should now get some suggested customers from our query. Let's go for Anton. To category. Let's run this query. Okay, so we knew we were going to get multiple relationships, but that's fine. We're still getting the order, so let's just quickly fix that. Don't want the order relationship, that can go away. Right, let's just quickly save that. So it's a little bit messy, we need to fix it, but you get the idea of what's going on here. So if I just clear the scene. Check that out, look at that. So we have got our customer, Antonio. We can now see, so we just need to figure out how to clear these relationships up. So we'll do that in a second, but you can see now. So I've not made any changes to the database. No changes have been made to the database at all. We're just using virtual relationships in APOC, so we can visualize what's going on. And you can see here, look at this. So we've got our customer Antonio. You can see we built out the hierarchy. So Antonio, orders one of these categories. So we've got seafood, grains, condiments, dairy, etc., etc., etc. And then you can see how the hierarchy drops down again to the product that they've been buying. So that's really cool. And as a reminder, if we take off the hierarchy mode, it will just be like that. So that is really, really cool. That was fun, actually. So I know, Vinit, you suggested I install GDS. So, I mean, if you've got some suggestions about what algorithm you'd like to run on this, otherwise, let's have a quick peek. What could we do with this? That's going to be a bit of fun. That's nice and quick, so we can close out the last 15 minutes before we call it a day. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? Let's bring up files. Let's bring up the docs for. Let's have a look at the GDS. What do we fancy running? Go out on a high. What do we want to run? I'm not feeling very inspired at the moment. I guess we could do similar orders. Actually, that might be a bit of fun. We could have a look at node similarity, and we could try and figure out which customers are similar based on their orders. So let's bring back browser, and let's have a look at what we've got. So if you think about it, so we've got customer. And I'm thinking we could do based on products. I think most of the customers are like mini marts, supermarkets, that kind of thing. So they're all probably going to be similar to each other. But maybe what we could do is do node similarity based on customer order to product. So can we find similar customers based on what they order? So let's have a quick peek at the docs here. So let's look at the example that we have here. So we have got just trying to find the load data. So what we do as an example here. Oh, here we go. Right, so we have got people liking guitars. So our example here is going to be person orders. So again, we're going to skip via order and go straight to... Actually, we wanted to look for similar customers, didn't we? So we're going to skip through order. We're going to use order as a pivot. So we go customer straight to product. And we're going to try and find similar customers. So, okay, that's what we're going to do. And we are going to need to create a graph projection, and then we run it. So I'm just going to remind myself, I've not done it in about a month or so. Let's remind ourselves how to do a graph projection. I think we have a link in here somewhere. Although, can we actually go straight? No, because we have to do the link. Right, okay, let me have a quick look. Right, let's do this. I'm just going to copy that as an example. Okay. So I'm just going to do it first in browser, and then when we figure out how it looks correct, we're then going to create a search phrase in Bloom, and we can run it there. Okay, so let me just do this so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we are going to call this similar customers. And what we want to do is we are going to match n where I think it's going to be n colon customer or n colon products, wasn't it? And then return ID n as n, and then we need to create our relationship, and that's going to be n. I think I can do this, n colon customer, and then that's going to be order, which is, we ignore that, we're not interested about order, and then we go to product. We'll call it m product to make life easier, m colon product. And that's, so now we're saying, so what we're saying, the first bit here, we're creating a projection. So we send the projection up into memory, and that allows, that tells the Graph Data Science library what we're doing. So we're giving it a name, so I'm calling it similar customer. I'm going to call it similar customer, so I'm not confusing customer. And we'll do this as an anonymous one in a bit. Let's get it working first. In fact, we'll come with an anonymous one in a second. And then what we need to do is we need to specify two things, because we are crafting the graph. So we're not saying, hey, you know what, we want to take the data as it is on the graph and then run a graph algorithm or that. Actually, we want to do a bit of tweaking, because if you recall, and let's go back to our handy arrows diagram, that what we want to do is we want to find out similar customers based on what products they purchase. But we've kind of got order in the way. So what we're saying is we're telling the Graph Data Science library that we're interested in customer and we're interested in product. And then we need to specify a relationship about how they're connected. So what we're basically saying is, well, actually the relationship is here. So we're creating almost like a virtual relationship. So saying we've got virtual relationship between customer and product via order. So that's what we're telling it. So that's what we're doing. So we're returning what nodes we're interested in and what the relationships. And this is returning a bipartite graph, because we're returning two different types of node label. Okay, so we're doing that. And that should create our graph, and hopefully it'll go, yep, I created it without problem. Hey, that looks promising. Okay, right, so let's now have a go at running our... Does it give us an example of how to do an anonymous one? I will look at it in a second. We will look at it in a second. Okay, right, so we've now got our graph in memory, and actually we should be able to call it from Bloom, so we'll have a go at that in a second. Okay, so we've done this, and what I'll do is I'm going to stream the result for this. So let's stream back the similarity. So again, I'm just going to swipe this and reuse, because I'm all about reuse. And let's do similar customer, because that's the name of our graph. Projection in memory. And we want to yield node 1, node 2. We are going to order descending similarity, and we're going to say this is customer, isn't it? So this is going to be customer ID. Just so we don't confuse ourselves. Customer 2, and let's just copy these. Right, let's see what exciting stuff comes back. Right, let's do this. Oh, they're not very similar, are they? That's a shame. But anyway, okay, so you can see, so we've had a little bit of an example there. We've got some customers that are like not similar at all, so that's fun. So you got an idea here. We've had a play with this where we're finding similar customers. So let's quickly have a go at let's do it on category rather than product, and then we'll bring it into Bloom. So I'm gonna call this similar customer 2. You're not supposed to do this, but I won't tell if you don't tell. You're supposed to drop your graph projections first. Okay, so let's do this. So you've got products, and then it goes to category. Oh no, we're gonna call this M. Category. Okay, right. So that is we're just slightly tweaking this. We're trying to find similar customers based on the category of product that they order, and I think we're going to find a lot of similarity now. Okay, let's do this. And let's rerun our stream. Similar customer 2. Oh, look at that. Lots of customers that are exactly the same. I mean, like, you're hard pushed to find a customer that's not not all, but there you go. Alright, that's a bit of fun. So, right, what are we going to do with this? Let's go off and stick this in Bloom. So I'm making the lazy assumption that the graph projection already exists. So let's do search. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to put in a cutoff threshold. So let's have a look. What did we have? So loads of people came back at once. I'm only interested in customers that came back with a similarity of, let's go with 1. So how are we going to do this? I kind of want to group these, the community, don't I? Actually, let's do this. Can we? I'm just trying to think. Can we say it so we specify a specific customer? I might have to. I may park this and think about how we can do this. But let's just show you this appearing in bloom because it's a bit of fun. So we can. So let's do. Okay, so let's do with node 1, node 2, similarity, where similarity is equal to 1. So we're only interested if they're an exact match. And then let's do our virtual relationship thing again. So we can just connect to the customer so we can see that they're, that they're the same. And that was, let's quickly remind myself what that was called. That's what we wanted, wasn't it? So we had our from, so that's going to be, actually, let's just wrap this to make it a bit nicer. Oh, why is it not happy? Oh, because I've got to put an as in. Okay, right, so this is going to be, it's going to be N1. This is going to be N2, because that's what we converted the IDs back into nodes. And then we're saying N1, really great relationship name of rel. I apologise for not coming up with something better. And then we're going to do, this should hopefully do something cool. So we called it similar customer, didn't we? So let's have a look. Let's see what happens. We probably don't want this. Oh. One moment, let's just quickly have a look at this. Make sure this works in browser. Okay, I know what I need to do. I need to ditch the... We don't want the customer ID, do we? Oh, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. Let's see what happens. We don't care about this, so we're going to get rid of that. We don't care about this, we're going to get rid of that. Right, so that's a quick peek. That's okay. This is what happens when you steal bits of code. We're almost there. We're almost there. I can feel it. Oh, it's very dark as well. Hang on, let me turn the light on whilst that's... Oh, look at that. It's a piece of work. It's a piece of art. Piece of art, I tell you. Right, okay, let's pop that into Bloom and see what happens. The order doesn't really matter. I could have got rid of that as well. Go on, let's be good. Let's get rid of this because we don't care about similarity because we know it's going to be 1, and we don't need to order anything either, so that can go as well. Right, okay, let's do this. I'm super excited to see what happens. So, find similar customers. Hello, Mavendra. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. So this is like crazy number of connections coming in. So let's do hierarchy mode. Let's see if it makes it prettier and easier to see what's going on. Oh, this is exciting. Oh my goodness. Right, okay. I guess you have to play with it and see what you like the look of. So we do have multiple relationships going between so you're going to have 2 relationships going between them just because we're not specifying directions. So it's going to go, for example, that Howard Snyder is similar to Roland Mendel and Roland Mendel is similar to Howard Snyder. So you're going to have those 2 directions going in, but that's why you have that. But apart from that, this is exciting. So there we go. So these are the customers who are similar to each other, and what's really interesting, which we haven't touched on, but by all means have a play with this, is we can take this a little bit further, and you'll notice that we have these nice little communities that are formed. Do you see? So we've got 1 community, 2 community, 3 community, 4, etc, etc, etc. So you could do something like weekly connects to components or Louvain, and it would literally stitch these together and go, hey, these are all part of the same community. So by all means, have a play with that. Okay, so that was fun. So what did we do today? We had a look at Bloom 1.4, and we looked at the 2 new features that are in 4.1. So we have the proactive suggestion. So for example, it will proactively suggest. I think we had a customer called. I'm just going to start typing letters. Okay, we don't have that. Is there a there was an Antonio, wasn't there? Ooh. Supplier, Antonio, customer. There we go. So you got the preactive there. So you got example way of putting the customer, and then Bloom now proactively suggests how I might continue this pattern. So do I want to continue with order, which it will be because the data model. Do I want to then continue to product? Do I want to then continue to, let's stick to products. And if I like this, I press enter, and it's now going to bring back that information. There we go. So you can see that, and we've got it. So we looked at that, and the other thing we looked at as well was the hierarchy mode. So you can turn that on and off here. So you can see it's blue. So I've currently got it switched on. And so you can see here, which makes sense if you think about it. So customer, so Antonio is going to be the top part of our hierarchy. Then we go down to order, and then from order we go down to what products were in that order. So you've got the hierarchy mode, and if I turn hierarchy mode off, it's going to go back into big circles. So there we go. So that was good fun, and we got some bonus graph data science action in there, as well as the APOC virtual relationships, which is good fun as well. So, well, that was fun. So I hope you enjoyed that. I did. I had a good bit of fun playing around with the new features and getting some bonus graph data science in there and getting some bonus virtual relationships. So that was all great fun. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, I will hang around for a bit, so do pop them in the chat. Otherwise, ping me on Twitter, and I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful day. Bye.